We spend a lot of time in video conferencing, now more than ever. Here are a few tips and tricks on how to make your meetings more effective, more comprehensible, and more human. First of all, avoid backlighting. You're not in a witness protection program. Avoid the talking head, the Marie Antoinette, the peekaboo, and also avoid the faraway subject. And if you have two monitors, try putting the camera on the one you look at, instead of staring off into the distance and not looking at the other people in the meeting. Position your camera so that it captures your head and torso. This also makes it easier for you to be heard. Secondly, eye contact matters. You'll notice that instead of looking at your face on my screen or looking at my notes, I look at the camera. This establishes eye contact, and it's a basic human need. Make it a point to check in periodically. One of the tricks you can use is to put a pair of googly eyes on your camera. Next, turn the lights up. If your camera can see you well, so can other people in the meeting. This is a meeting between people, and so being able to see each other is another basic human need. Eye contact is one of them. Being able to see and be seen is another. There are 3 verbal skills that are critical to every presentation. The first is enunciation. Bite off every consonant of every word as if you are speaking to somebody who is not a native speaker of whatever your native language happens to be. By enunciating, you make yourself more clearly understood, and there are a lot fewer questions. The other thing you can do is not speak too quickly, because if you speak too quickly, then people don't comprehend what you're saying and often don't even understand the words. Speak slowly enough and clearly enough so that everybody can understand you. The second critical skill is pause. Allow times for questions. Silence is an invitation to speak. Allow people time to think about what you have just said and absorb it. If you're going to refer to a Go link, give people time to type it in, or better yet, paste it into the Hangouts chat window, or make it available at the end of the talk. The idea is to provide a single reference point for people to get all of their information and not have to struggle to keep up with your speaking. Finally, if you're not the main speaker and you have a question, unless you're in a room filled with people who all know each other, identify yourself.
Hello, this is Daniel. I have a question about what you said before.
It makes the meeting much more human if people all know each other. Now let's take a look at some presentation skills, starting with how to interact with a web page. Let's use Gmail as a simple example. Here is a message in my preferred font size. Can you read it? Probably not. I need to zoom in so that it's too large for my everyday use, but large enough for you to be able to see. Typically between 125 and 150% are good numbers. Next, notice that some hover text doesn't appear. I can see archive and I can see report spam, but when I mouse over onto inbox, there's hover text that appears that you can't see. There's also hover text under the X. So if you're not sure with hover text, ask your audience if they can see it. Finally, if you're talking about something on the page, I can't see where you're looking. Your eyes don't have built-in laser pointers. And your mouse is probably pretty tiny on my screen, so you can't point with your mouse and say, if you look here. Instead, if you need to call somebody's attention to text, highlight it, and then give them time to find what you have referenced before moving on. It's also good to give visual navigation cues, such as the X in the gray bar at the top of the screen, or the question mark to the right of the search box. All of those will help the viewer find what it is that you're talking about and give them a chance to find it before moving on. Another thing that is important is that your demos are very clear, explicit, and never too fast. I'm going to give you a demo of a demo because I already expect that you know how to use docs. Here is what you have probably seen some people give in demos. I don't believe Teddy Roosevelt when he says it is not the critic who counts. I believe the critic does count. So what I'd like to do is make a suggestion, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Notice that the word gets deleted, and then I need to go ahead and change the paragraph spacing for each of these paragraphs. So I'm going to go add space after the paragraph. And could you follow that? Could you reproduce those steps if you needed to? So let me rewind. Here is how the demo should be given. In the second paragraph, Teddy Roosevelt says, "It is not the critic who counts." I'd like to change that and suggest that it is the critic who counts. So I'm going to go ahead into the mode on the top right hand of my screen and select Suggesting. Then, when I delete the text, it will appear on the right-hand side as a suggestion for the author. I also believe that the paragraphs are way too close together, so in the paragraph spacing menu, line spacing up here, I'm going to select Add Space After Paragraph. That will change just this one paragraph. Notice that normal text is the format of the paragraph. That's in the Styles menu in the top bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the style. The way I do that is by clicking, mousing over, and selecting not Apply Normal Text, but rather Update Normal Text to Match. And now you'll notice that all of the paragraphs change. Wasn't that a lot more comprehensible? I paused and allowed the viewer to find out what I was talking about and then explained it rather than just darting along and changing things. If you have a nervous habit of scrolling around on the screen, then that's a distraction.
Squirrel!
Make all of your changes deliberate. Remember that the GVC takes a little while to catch up, and give your audience a chance to see what has changed. Remember, they haven't made the change, they've only seen the change, so they need to readapt. You know what you did, they don't. Finally, because your mouse is almost invisible, there are a couple of tricks to improving mouse visibility. On the Macintosh, my favorite is from 2.5fish.com. It's called Mouse Locator. There's also a special Chrome extension which enables you to draw on any window in Chrome. The pen up here, it's called Marker. It enables you to draw on the screen. You hit Escape to make your marking go away. So you can mark anything either by selecting it or by marking it using the extension. Finally, if you're using slides, go into Present mode, and on the bottom of the screen there is a thing called Pointer. When you select that, your mouse now becomes trackable and leaves a trail and makes it really easy for the viewer to see exactly what you're talking about. So to summarize, eye contact, good lighting, speak clearly, pause. Let the viewer catch up, help them see. Thank you for your time.